Merry Christmas, everyone! Did you get some interesting stuff under your tree? I certainly did. Let's have a look at some of the wonderful wagons I've got. We'll start with these Dapol wagons. I've got 3 of these. They are Bogie Bolster wagons, code YRV, or this one is a YNV. Let's have a look at these. These are very nice looking wagons. Very useful looking engineers wagons. These ones are labelled for the S&T department. Quite an interesting detailed underframe. We've got some details in the pack, including some alternative fixed couplings, which is interesting. Some stakes to go in the top, which is as expected. Vacuum hose, coupling hooks, and instanter couplings. They will make interesting wagons to add to my engineer's yard and the engineering trains that come and go. Very pleased with those. This is an interesting wagon too. This is one of Kernow's commissions. This is an SPA wagon. This is a weathered version. Oh, that's a separate piece. That's interesting. This is a separate moulded piece. Sits in for a load to go on. This would go into a speedlink rake. And I have plenty of other speedlink wagons, so this will go very well with those. Santa has done an excellent job picking this one out. Something from Accurascale as well. These are 24.5 ton HUO hopper wagons. Set of 3 in a pack. It's very detailed. Lots of fine detail on this. All these handrails all over them. Quite a complex looking wagon as well for what was in theory quite a basic job to cart coal around. Each wagon has different detailing and a different number. Very interesting wagons. Got quite a few coal trains of this kind of era, either era 6 or era 7, and I hope to be able to mix loads of different looking wagons together to create a typical mixed looking train. Even though the wagons are all roughly similar, there was a surprising amount of variety in the wagons. Lovely set of wagons, that. And very carefully packaged as well, with many layers to the packaging. Accurascale are notorious for that. Along the theme of coal hoppers, I have this 21 ton hopper, which is an HTO as well. Not the same design as that, but serves the same purpose. So hopefully it can sit in the same train and provide variety. Because I've only got one of these. Can you come out? Yes, you are. Good. These are a little bit more of a challenge to find at the moment, because they're a little bit older. They seem to have sold rather well and possibly sold out. And I expect if they do come back, they will end up being significantly more expensive. It's not quite to the same level of detail as the Accurascale wagons, but it's still a pretty good wagon. So I hope it can run in the same train without looking too out of place. It's still got fine detailed handrails, but they are a much simpler design. Obviously this was more of the economy version of the wagon versus the other one, which has more crew amenities, shall we say. Got some humble 16-tonners as well. This is the current Bachmann moulding, which is run for a while now. You'll notice these are older style boxes, but still a nice looking wagon. Again, not up to current standards, but certainly good enough. There's been a great many attempts at 16-tonners over the years. This was the first one, I believe, that was dimensionally accurate and wasn't covered in chunky detail. I'm sure the Accurascale one, when it turns up, will blow these out of the water, but for now, these are a decent 16-ton mineral wagon, and I'm happy to have some more for my rake. And you can't run coal trains like that without a brake van. And I have two here. So this is a very coal train Christmas, really. This is the standard British rail design, which is based on a northeastern prototype. And this is the Midland region design, of which there would still be many operating in the period that I'm modelling. It will be an interesting comparison to have both of them running around at the same time, showing the different designs and the different heritage. I had a van of this design when I was a kid. Much more chunky, of course, but standards have moved on. And these are good because I was definitely lacking some brake vans. So to have a couple of good brake vans in brown, ready to run on fitted freight, is very important. Didn't have a single brown brake van before. Had a grey one. In fact, I think I had a couple of grey ones, which are fine for unfitted freight, but for a fully fitted train, you need the fitted brake van, and those were painted brown. And that is what the difference is. That's why some are brown and some are grey.
I received an unexpected large box from channel sponsor PCBWay this Christmas too. First thing out is a card, so let's have a quick look at that before digging further into the box.
PCBWay sent me a Christmas card. And there's a gift attached too. I know, let's start here. You know, anything shipped from PCBWay in an anti-static packet has got to be good. Happy soldering. Okay, well that looks like it has a slot for a 2032, so let's find out what this does. It goes in from the bottom. Are we sure that's a 2032? Yes, there we go. Oh, that's very clever.
This is exactly the kind of product that PCBWay's service is ideal for, and a great demonstration of what they can produce.
There's another one. Alright, another 2032. No switch on this one, so constant lights. There we go, let's put them up here. We've got a mouse mat and a wrist rest by the look of it. Now this is interesting because right over there, there's a screen that normally has the signalling panel for the layout on it. And one of the plans is to make that screen bigger and more usable from over here and get a radio keyboard and mouse that I can actually operate the layout from here rather than having to do it from all the way out there. And this will be very useful because I could actually put this out here. What with this being a short version, this is a what, an 80% length version, so it would work with a typical short radio keyboard, whereas a full-length keyboard, as I use when I'm sitting at my desk, this is not long enough for. But out here, where there's limited space, and I want something that I can move out of the way very easily, these will come in handy. Thank you very much for these. What have we got here? This is interesting. That's a very big mug. Well, important to stay hydrated, so yes.
This is described as a dual-use pillow. I'd call it a cushion looking at it rather than a pillow, but dual-use definitely fits. It folds out into a blanket. There was also a travel neck pillow, but my wife seems to have stolen that before I could even get it on film.
Now comes the good stuff. I have myself a Class 101 in the interesting white and blue livery. Relatively short-lived because they would not stay clean. British Rail wanted something brighter than the all-over blue livery, came up with this and decided after a while, actually, we don't fancy that, it's too much work to keep clean, And they went for the standard blue and grey after that. But yes, very interesting. This is the Bachmann model, wired through between the units with the electric coupler, and unfortunately takes a 21-pin decoder, so it's going to be a while before we see that one running. Zimo, make some decoders please. This is made by Heljan but commissioned by TMC, so it's a TMC special edition, class 45 peak. I do have two of the Bachmann peaks, although one is a 44 and one is a 46, so this one sits in the middle as a 45. Oh, I can see many detail bits to add. And a thingy. I'll have to figure out what that's for later. Again, this is a 21-pin model, so I'm going to see this now, and not again for a while afterwards. Zimo, please make some decoders. They literally screwed that to the underframe. There are screws down there. Why on earth have we felt the need to do that? There must be something very fragile under here. Really? Is that it? I suppose maybe. Yeah, this is D15. TMC had a special on these not long before Christmas, and obviously my parents have spotted this one because this one came courtesy of them. They made the centre part of the bogie move independently from the outside part. They have. Rather, it rocks to keep in line with vertical curves, and this has separate springing on the end of it. That should probably ride fairly well. It's an interesting approach to making this work without needing the same method that Bachmann used, which is to make this rear axle not driven, whereas these, all three of these axles are driven. There's quite some slack in that gear chain. That will make an interesting addition to the layout. Sitting neatly in my Era 6 period with its D number. I do think that's a fascinating period. I think it's a big overlooked period as well, Era 6. Which is, it's the transition in to corporate blue. So I should check just how many DCC functions that actually has. Because if it has few enough, and there is enough clearance, I might be able to put an 8-pin socket converter in it, and then an 8-pin chip. I might not have to wait for 21-pin chips to actually be manufactured. And finally, this is another Heljan model. We'll bear our warning in mind not to pick it up by the middle. Heljan are up to their tricks again. Anything where the couplings don't come attached, I'm instantly suspicious. Let's see if they've done it again. Yep, there's no way that's going to run with all that stuff all over the end of it. That's going to need a moustache trimming before it's going to run anywhere, which is a shame, but it is. And again, another Era 6 loco with an E number, but in full corporate blue. And another 21-pin loco. Zimmo, please make some decoders. So, in summary, Zimmo, please make some decoders. No, I mean, a very good Christmas. Thank you to my family, and my wife, my kid, and also my parents. And PCBWay for sending a rather interesting pile of stuff.
In a lovely high quality box. And the box has already passed Ioni's thorough inspection. See you next time up here in the study at Donget's Model Railway.